Bill Murray.
Nice.
Yeah, it was. They showed us his signature on the barrel.
Nice.
And I was like, that's pretty cool. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever episode of the WTF. What does that stand for? Whiskey Tobacco Fellowship. I am your host, Devin. Some people call me Art, some people call me Devin. That's okay. Today, we're going to be discussing W, T, and having a little bit of F. That didn't come out right. I am joined today by one of my oldest friends, Daniel. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man. How are you? Shake and bake?
Shake and bake. So, welcome
Hi.
to WTF, first episode.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I decided I was going to do this solo, like 100% solo. And I went, when you were like, hey, man, what do you think about me? And I went, my oldest friend, who I've shared W, T, and F with, Whiskey Tobacco Fellowship.
There you go.
Fellowship.
Can we define what F is? That'd be
Fellowship. Yeah. I was like, sure, let's do it.
Yeah.
Do it to it, no problem.
I'm excited. This is going to be fun.
So, just a disclaimer, WTF, Whiskey Tobacco Fellowship. I started this a long time ago. We had different names. Whiskey Talk Friends was the first one.
That was the first iteration.
And then I got the whole Discord community to kind of chime in, mostly my close friends. You know them as well. To kind of help solidify the name to something that catered to us a little bit more.
Yeah.
Something, well, we like whiskey. We like tobacco. And all of us are like Lord of the Rings and sci-fi nerds and stuff. So
It's true.
I'll call him Robert. He came up with Fellowship. Sir Metal, actually, fully solidified the Fellowship thing. Robert was kind of on the border of it, and Garth pushed it over the edge to
Nice.
Fellowship. And I was like, that's it.
It fit really, really well.
Right. So the biggest thing we decided to do.
You tried to do.
Name how many office jokes and Parks and Rec jokes we make in one episode.
A lot.
Is I run Arc of Fire Studios. It's my gaming and my artist outlet.
Beautifully, by the way.
And I appreciate that. And we were just like really focusing on this a lot. And I went, this needs to be its whole enthusiastic section. So that's what we did. We just decided to come up with it. It's been a big hit so far, and it just keeps growing. So.
And WTF will make really cool shirts later.
Right.
So
Well, you know me and acronyms and abbreviations and all these kind of things.
you basically should work for the government. Like,
Right. Yeah. Like the main logo for Arc of Fire Studios is AF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
awesome AF.
Yeah. See, exactly. Anyway, let's get to the point. So for people listening.
And not just the one on his head. But
Oh my gosh. So what we're drinking tonight is in the Woodford Reserve family. We're doing Woodford Reserve Standard and Woodford Reserve Double Oak. And this one in particular is from Smokin' Liquor Island. It's their pick.
Do they liquor there? I don't understand.
I don't know either. It's their pick that this particular
very
place
good.
chose for their Double Oak.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
They were selling it at the store. I bought it. Ball game.
I mean, it's double oak. It's going to be awesome. So who cares?
Exactly. And the tobacco we're smoking today is going to be the My Father Don Pepin Cuban Classic, Black 1950. This thing,
It smells wonderful.
it's a beautiful thing. So let's go ahead and get this thing lit up so you guys can understand what we're looking at. And here's that classic sound.
There it is.
There it is. Nice little toast. Remember to comment on what you smell, what you taste, all the little notes to it. So recently, you know what I've been doing is a non-pull light.
Really?
I just toast the thing and I blow on it until it's lit so that you can taste it off the top. You can't taste it off the top. That's an inside joke for the cigar shop. Anybody going back to listen to this will be like, oh, he just...
There it is. There it is. What's the wrapper on this?
Habano and Nicaraguan.
Very good.
This thing's almost a Nicaraguan Puro, to
Okay.
be completely honest with you. because the binder and filler are both Nicaraguan.
Oh, okay.
And
Wow, that's fantastic.
I chose this one obviously because it's my father.
Mm-hmm.
I like all of their sticks. I'm
'Cause
biased.
they're fantastic.
I'm biased. I will tell you that. The rep, Eric Parkinson, is a wonderful human being. We're going to be having him on the show pretty soon.
Fantastic.
And I wanted to start with something that was stereotypical cigar. So Cuban classic. I went ball
There you
game,
go.
fits everything. It's got a wonderful band on it. That's one of the things we use to judge cigars.
Mm-hmm.
Not 100%, obviously. It's going to be a small percentage. But if you've got a crappy band, I'm done. You
Well,
know?
sociology, marketing in general will say, yeah, people, even if you don't want them to, they're still going to.
Right.
They're still going to look at it and go, I don't want that.
Right.
Even if it might be the best cigar in the entire humidor, and if you have a crappy band, you might have lost them.
Yeah. We do have a cigar company that shall not be named that does that. And, well, the band matches the flavor. Anyway,
True story.
so we've got the wonderful Woodford Reserve here today. I decided to go with Woodford Reserve because, number one, again, they're my favorite.
They're fantastic.
I've been to the distillery. It was amazing. This looks like 50-year-old hipster walked us around the place. But the dude was so knowledgeable. I'm telling you, the thing I loved about going to distilleries up in Kentucky was the history.
I'll bet.
Oh,
I'll bet.
so good. Like the buildings there, the barrels. We saw one barrel. I don't think that was at Woodford. I think that was at,
Dual barrel roll.
I think it was at Maker's Mark, or I don't remember where it was at. But it was signed by a bunch of celebrities. Like one was,
Oh, that's cool.
Caddyshack. Bill Murray.
Nice.
Yeah, it was. They showed us his signature on the barrel.
Nice.
And I was like, that's pretty cool. So, I just sniffed that right up my nose.
Cigar smoke is not meant to be inhaled. Just for the people who have not smoked cigars, it's not meant to be inhaled.
So the thing I love about Habano is how natural it is.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love Habano. It has become my favorite. I'm going to be doing a beginner series at some point just to help people out. But for anybody just listening in, most people, they'll start out very trepidatious.
Good word.
Good word.
10-point word.
10-point word. It starts out, they go Connecticut or sweet tipped, and they may go flavored, which we try to discourage that. But
Always.
if you like it, you like it. But
Yeah,
I'm
no
gonna try
judgment. No judgment there. But
a little.
it's got to be nice.
Try to be nice. But they start there, and then they go, I'm going the darkest I can. And they go straight to the
do.
darkest Maduro.
Me too. This was my journey. This is
Yeah.
exactly what
Well,
happened.
that was mine too.
This was
It's almost
exactly my
every
journey.
smoker's journey because they get into the motif of it all and all the stuff, and they go straight Maduro for a while, and they're like, I love this. I love it. Oh man, this natural stuff or this sun-grown stuff, it's not good enough. Give them about 5 years.
Yep. Let the palate grow and
Yeah.
mature and
Then they start backing down. They go into the sun-grown, and then they learn
oh,
to find.
sun-grown.
I know. They go into Connecticut's again, and they'll start getting particular.
Yep.
Like all of us. You'll be like, no, this Connecticut's a bunch of nothing. There's one brand, another one, not the one I was mentioning earlier, that I've commented about this with one of our sponsors who helped me get this started. He helped us with the alcohol tonight.
Oh, fantastic.
And he goes, this particular brand, it's like smoking nothing. They're Connecticut's. And I looked at him and went, you are absolutely right. Every time I have one, it's like smoking nothing. Unless you smoke their Maduros. Their Maduros are fantastic. Their Connecticut's, I don't even know why they make them. Anyway, without further ado, because I'm just staring at this house.
I know. I want this so bad.
We'll do
in
some
my
more
face.
comments about the cigar as we go along, because we are the
Whiskey Tobacco
Fellowship. First on the roster is the Woodford Reserve Standard.
Cheers.
Cheers. I love Woodford Reserve. I love the oakiness behind it. And this is just standard oak.
I like the amber, like that honey. You get it right on the tip of the tongue. As soon as it goes in your mouth, you get the honey.
Yeah.
I love it.
Chase it. Oh, I just chased it.
Yep.
with that Habano, man. I'm telling you, if you have not had a good Habano cigar, I highly recommend it. CLE, it's an orange label, makes a Habano that is
Phenomenal.
fantastic.
It's phenomenal.
And then I have another brand that has become my favorite Habano, but I'm not going to mention it on here so people don't buy it because I want to keep smoking it and not disappear. But it has a red band, and that's all I'm going to say.
Just ask him later. Just ask him.
If you ask me in person, if you know me, I'll tell you. But over the internet, nah, because then there'll be a shortage. One of my favorite commentators, Steven Crowder, he did that with one of his. I think it was the Flathead.
Oh, yeah, they did. They had a national shortage straight up.
After he mentioned his cigar, they had a national shortage, and he goes, "I should have never told y'all." And I'm like, I don't know how big this podcast is going to get or how big AFS is going to get, but I'm not going to tell you what my favorite stick is right now. Just not going to do it.
Maybe later.
I can tell you what my second favorite stick is.
What's your second favorite stick, Devin?
It is the Aroa 20th year Colorado box press. It is made with original Cuban seed, and you'll probably hear me mention this story multiple times throughout the years. But about 5 years ago, Christian Aroa himself came to town, and the cigar shop I work at, the owner invited me to go have dinner with him at Perry Steakhouse.
I remember that.
Man, it was a good time. And can I tell you a little thing that made it even better? Is he brought his marketing team with him, and his marketing manager was this Italian woman who not only was she gorgeous, like gorgeous, she had some stories. I'm talking like people with AK-47s pointing them at her face and being stuff like
Lords of War kind of stuff.
Yeah,
crazy.
She was telling us these stories while we were sitting at the table, and I'm like, how did you get here? Like, I couldn't even believe it. Couldn't even believe it.
I love it.
Anyway, so what do you think of the Woodford with the Don Pepin?
It's a phenomenal pairing. Literally, you're getting all the honey and then the oak and then all those things. And then as that hits, you're getting all the leather and just the earthiness coming from the cigar, and they match perfectly.
Yeah.
They really do.
Yeah. That was my big thing when I was talking to Max. I was like, he goes, well, what do you want to do the very first episode about? Because I know you've done cigar broadcasting before, which I'll get into in just a second. And I went, there's a lot of things you could do, right?
Yeah.
But I went, what's my favorite brand? What's my favorite libation?
Yeah, there you go.
And I went,
go there.
Sold.
Yeah.
Done.
My father
Done.
and Woodford, done.
Yeah.
I could have told you that. If you'd have asked me, I could have told you those two things.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of history about me, which you're well aware of. I've done multiple cigar broadcasts, specifically for the cigar retail outlet I've worked for many years now. And when it finally ended, I went, we've had this WTF thing for a while. What am I procrastinating on? So a little uplifting thing to everybody. Listen, you've got an idea, put it down on paper. Tell no one except your close friends.
Or your best friend.
Yeah, or your close friends. Keep the circle tight, because there's a psychological thing they talk about, which is
Absolutely.
if you have an idea or like, I'm going to go to the gym, and you start telling all these people that you're going to go to the gym and get fit, you'll get that dopamine high of the accolades they give you, then you won't do it.
There's also the flip side of that, which is there are people that will just poo-poo on the idea simply because they're not willing to do it. Specifically in business. Business is probably less personal things, more business ideas and stuff. Start sharing those things, and people are like, that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
And it's because they don't have the mental capacity to think of or envision it. So that because they can't do it, they want to stifle you.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time.
Yeah.
I've experienced that in my life many times. So yes, very few people. Keep it close.
Yep. So that's what I've been doing lately. That in this newest season of my life, I heard a really interesting thing of what do they say? Quiet achievements. And I did one about 2 years ago back at the old company I work for that you and I both work for. This is the most minuscule small thing. I'm not going to go into detail about it because I'm going to keep it quiet. It was something stupid at a food restaurant.
I remember.
Yeah. And I still have the thing that I did for it. And every time I look at it and I go, quiet achievement. Because you don't have to broadcast all your details and accolade. You don't have to do that.
Nope.
And it's okay.
That's like what I'm teaching my son right now is do the right thing because it's the right thing, not because you're going to get someone say you did a good job, not because I'm going to, he's my son, so I'm going to say you did a good job, but do it because it's the right thing to do.
Right.
And it's funny, I asked him today, we were pushing the carts and we were at Aldi and there were carts in the way.
Yeah.
And we had put all the stuff, all of our food in the car, and I said, hey, what's the right thing to do with all those carts? He thought about it for a second. He goes, put them up. Yeah. I said, that's right, son.
Yeah.
And so I went and put them all up, and he got to see me do it. And I think that in and of itself, that should be what we do. You do the right thing because it's the right thing to do.
You know, they did some kind of, I don't know if they did a study for it or if somebody made a big, said something about it. I don't remember the exact thing, but I remember reading the thing on the internet and was like, that's true. Putting carts away at the grocery store
I think I know what you're talking about.
is a massive act of selflessness that is 100% not necessary and speaks volumes of your character. Because you don't have to do any of that. But you think about it, there's only two types of people. There's people who don't put them in the thing, and then people who just leave them in the spot or pop it up on the grass.
I kind of view it the same way of, I judge people based on how they treat servers or janitors or people that typically are considered lesser than.
Yeah.
Like how the character of which you treat that person tells me a lot about who you are, and it would also apply to if you put the card away or not.
Yeah.
Because those things indicate that there's something grander in your life than yourself.
Yep.
That you live for something more than just for yourself. Because we all are happy with living for ourselves. We all want things for ourselves.
Yeah.
But anytime you do those things, that shows that you value something. You have a moral value that's higher than just you.
It harkens and speaks a lot to discipline.
It does.
Discipline's a big thing. When people want to discount spirituality or discount morality, but you know the thing that is no matter what through everything is discipline. And that's, I mean, if you can't bear the same burdens as us, or not burdens, but if you can't relate to us with some of the things we're talking about, in the end, it can be related to discipline.
I agree.
Yeah. I started disciplining myself recently I get out of the shower and I stretch. I did it out of necessity because if I didn't, my back hurt. Now it's become a habit. 15 minutes minimum every single time I get out of the shower.
Nice.
If I take 2 showers a day,
Stretching
do it
2 times. Yeah,
I
stretch
stretch 2 times. And I'm telling you, that discipline has started to develop. I'm working out with it now. It's getting bigger and bigger. So
a discipline I just started is breathing, intentional breathing. One of the, I can't remember his name now. I've just recently stumbled upon some of his podcasts.
Wim Hof?
No, Eric. I'll know next time we speak. I forget his name.
Yeah.
But he was talking about the few things that are free that you can do is cold showers and breath work.
Yeah.
So I do 30 breaths, 3 sets of 30 breaths, specifically outside if I can.
Yeah.
And it tremendously helps. First thing in the morning.
You should look up Wim Hof too. He has an app.
No, very nice.
Yeah. And that dude's insane. Off topic completely, 100% out the field.
It falls into fellowship.
This guy has ran up the coldest mountain in the world.
Oh, that guy. The guy
4 times.
The guy that covers himself in snow?
Yeah. He's run
Yes,
up
I
there
know
with
that guy.
shirts
God.
and a t-shirt.
He's crazy.
And now he's trained multiple other people to do it.
Nuts.
He's just breathing. And I'm just you guys are wonderful. That is discipline. Anyway. So, we've got the Don Pepin Cuban Classic.
Fantastic.
We've got the Woodford Reserve. Now it is time for the Woodford Reserve Double Oak.
Yay.
And this is the Smokin' / Liquor Island pick. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Double Oak is one of my favorites.
Yes. So what I get in this one that is in addition to, because they're very similar in flavor profile because obviously they're from the same distillery and whatnot. But what I get from this one is probably more of a fruit. There are plum and other dark flavors in it that are just fantastic.
See, I agree with you. I call it rounded.
Yeah.
Like, you have the flavor profile that is Woodford Reserve.
Yeah.
When you get into their more specific stuff, like the double oak,
Yeah.
which is this is single oak, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It rounds off.
It does.
Which is strange because, in my opinion, if you look at the bottles, it
Yeah,
mimics
even the bottles around it.
mimic that.
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, it's a lot squarer. It's a lot more round. I love that.
And later on in the podcast, not this one, but some later ones, we'll try some of the even more rare Woodford Reserves that come in these beautiful,
yes, they're
squarish bottles.
So good too.
Oh, my buddy Garth, he's got both my buddies you'll see on this podcast, they have them. And I mean, I've got a nice little whiskey collection. Theirs is like quadruple, sextuple larger than mine. It's ridiculous.
You just wanted to say sex.
I did. So far, I'm loving how this is developing. Mm-hmm. Now, I will tell you, I've had to do something recently.
What's that?
I haven't smoked. I didn't smoke all Friday, all Saturday, and I haven't smoked anything until right here. Because I can tell you, which I'm going to do a separate podcast on this, look out for that, is burning too fast, smoking too fast, burning your tongue out. Mm-hmm. And you'll
It's happened to
notice
you twice, hasn't it?
It has happened to me
crazy.
twice. Yeah. This time I picked up on it faster before I continued to smoke.
Yeah.
So the recovery time. Last time I had to stop smoking for like 2 weeks.
Oh, I thought it was only a week. Man, 2 weeks. Wow.
Yeah. And I worked at a cigar shop full time.
That's hard to do.
So you're talking like, what? This time I've just been able to enjoy people's
Aroma.
Yeah.
Yeah, last time we got together, I smoked a cigar around you. You weren't smoking.
But that's almost like a cigar fast.
Yeah, cigar hiatus. I like that. Yeah.
Let's add that to that discipline category we just had. Try that sometime. Think about trying that, I should say, is if you fast cigars, but you hang around people who smoke cigars, learn to pick up on the smells.
Mm-hmm. On the notes that you're getting.
Yeah. Because that's one thing that the WTF and my history wants to teach you guys is how to pick up on all the notes. I had a customer come in yesterday who goes, some people say this cigar has a chocolate tasting and then a nutty almond and then it does this. And I'm like, I don't pick up on that. I just like to smoke it. I'm like, that's one thing I want to educate everybody on is how to pick up on that. And it's not, you don't just learn to do it out the gate.
No, it's not something that's innate. It's something you have to learn. It's certainly a skill. One of the things that a good friend of mine who's a sommelier, I worked in restaurants and managed different things here and there in my lifetime, and a friend of mine who's a somm, he would do like sinus cleaning. Like he would go and take the neti pots and clean out his sinuses before doing any major wine tasting, and he also smoked cigars. And so he would say anytime that he wanted to really take in all of the flavors, he said if you don't have a clear nasal palate, you're not going to be able to catch the almond and the chocolate, and you're not going to be able to catch all the subtle nuances that are there. And that, honestly, is the only, not the only, but it's one of many reasons why people do that. And it's the reason we're not smoking cigarettes. This isn't something I have to do. This is something I enjoy. Cig of what? Cig of weed. It's
Name that movie.
Exactly. Half-Baked?
No.
Oh, cig of weed? I don't know.
I'll tell you after the show. You already know what it's not. So
Yes, it's not mine.
put it in the comments what you think it is.
But I enjoy it. I enjoy the flavors. I enjoy pairing. That was something I learned early on in that restaurant was how to pair food with wine. And then once you learn just that subtle nuance and how to do those things, then it just that grows. You see why wine costs what it does and why whiskey costs what it does, why tobacco costs what it does, and why there is such an aficionado kind of feel to it. And it's not just a hobby. It really is like something that we like doing. It's just a blast.
100 people. That's the approximation of how many people had to touch this cigar for it to get to you to be able to purchase it.
That's right.
In the future, be thinking about this, Daniel, for the future is you, since you know way more about wine than I do, find wine. A bottle of wine or 2 bottles, preferably one. Whatever you think.
4, I got it.
4, got it. That pairs with a cigar, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
And we'll pair it with a...
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay.
That wasn't awkward at all. It's fine.
I forgot the light turns off, so.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Thank goodness it's being recorded on something that can change the lighting.
That's right.
Yeah. This is mostly going to be for podcasting. This show will be put up on YouTube under the podcast label.
Okay.
It'll have all of its own social medias, things like that. And we'll be doing the standard social media packet for all of this kind of stuff. So you'll be able to get it. I want it to be low cost until it starts being profitable, right? And then we can start pumping some money into it, right?
Yeah.
Smart
plan. Mm-hmm.
And I would encourage you to, if you've got an idea, flesh it out. Keep it to yourself. Write it down on paper. Flesh it out. So, one of the things I wanted to get into is basically why, I've already mentioned it briefly about why I got into this, but I've done multiple cigar broadcasts. I run a studio for gaming and art that I've been running for about 5 years. It's been okay. It hasn't been stellar, but it's been great.
I've enjoyed it. Yeah, but you've enjoyed it.
That's the point. That's the point.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it, and it grows. I know how to do it. And that's what our sponsor pointed out to me. He goes, so you're telling me you know how to record it, you know how to film it, you know how to edit it, and you know how to post it. What's your problem? Okay? That's the point. Do what you like. So what's your experience with libations and tobacco?
My experiences with libations, it started, I actually did not drink anything until I was in my 20s outside, like for recreation.
Yeah.
At 18, I actually started working at a 5-star restaurant. And in that 5-star restaurant, it was a steak and lobster house. Our sous chef would fly to France literally one day out of the month and get wine and cheese to pair with our wine menu.
Yeah.
And so I started out really for the term you used was bougie. I had a high tolerance. I very expensive taste.
Yeah.
Very, like, out the gate, my very first introduction to any type of alcohol was a $3,000 bottle of it was a Rothschild wine. And then we had cheeses from that region. And so that was my very first time I'd ever had anything.
Yeah.
And so it kind of all revolved around wine in the beginning, and then that same place, because of the clientele, we actually had a client whom you would all know, the CEO of that particular company, bought everybody, including the server and I, a round of Louis XIII. So my very first time ever having any kind of liquor was a $300 shot liquor.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it's a really good cognac is what it is. Really aged.
It's no 100 Pipers.
No. Let's say about that story if we can get into that today. That'd be funny.
We may do a history question of the development later. That's a whole
God,
other
that's
episode,
funny.
I think.
That's funny. But and then from there, around in my early 20s, I had a Hoegaarden from Belgium, a beer. That was the first beer I ever liked that I was like, oh, beer can taste like this.
Yeah.
And so just that Hefeweizen type. And so that kind of got me into the realm of beer. And so now I enjoy really all kinds of beer. There's not a beer type that I don't like except for like sours. I'm not a big fan of those, but I'll try them. Whiskey, big fan of whiskey. I love Scotch. Scotch is probably my preferred. Scotchity Scotch. The peatier the better. So the Islay the better. Just and then I'm really getting into tequila. My wife could outdrink me in tequila. We found out on our honeymoon. So tequila, the older the better. So Reposado are better. Añejos. Yeah. Añejos have a lot of the same qualities as whiskeys and bourbons and stuff. They just have that agave flavor as well. So fantastic. But yeah, so now I can pretty much do all that. And then cigars I actually got into by a good friend of mine, Bigfoot. A lot of people around here know him, Jason.
Yeah.
He bought me my first cigar from this exact establishment we're sitting in right now. And it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was a Java. So to go back to our palate and how it progressed, that's a flavored cigar.
Yeah.
It's like a chocolate bomb.
Yeah.
And it was really good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the sitting. Really what I enjoy about cigars in general is the fact that in a in a culture now where everything is social media, everything is, we don't sit down with anybody anymore. We don't really see anybody. We don't even like to make phone calls anymore. It's more of a text, social media kind of presence. This requires you to stop, light it, and spend 45 minutes in a single place talking to whomever's around you.
Right.
And in my experience, I've been to a dozen cities and found a cigar lounge and had delightful conversation with hundreds of different kinds of people, all of which are different races, religions, all those things, and it just kind of transcends all those things.
And that's the reason they call it the brothers and sisters of the leaf kind of thing, because you'll hear that in most cigar lounges, most, not all, but most, that race, creed, ethnicity, all that stuff goes away when everybody sits down and lights a cigar.
It's true.
And if you find a cigar shop that doesn't happen, you may or may not want to be there.
Yeah, exactly. That means they have other ulterior motives going on there.
Exactly. Well, this has been great. Do you have anything you want to add as far as, I want to give it's the first episode, so we may have a first-time person who's been like, man, I want to smoke a cigar. Do you have a recommendation? I have one.
Recommendation for a very first cigar, I would say listen to whoever is working at that cigar shop first, because they know their humidor. Because not every humidor is going to have maybe the one that you recommend or even what I recommend. But, I mean, most people do start off with Connecticut's the lighter things, but really, I would start off with a sun-grown cigar, because that is the early leaf kind of harvest. Yeah. And there's a lot of flavors in that you're not going to get in other things.
And you're new to it.
And you're new to it, so you won't know, and there are just so many good flavors there. And I think starting there would give you a leg up than starting anywhere else.
I'd like to have a caveat to that to help hone it in.
Shoot it.
Don't buy anything over $15 for your first one.
Oh, God.
Somewhere around $10
never
is more than enough.
Yeah.
More than enough.
Never spend more than $10.
If somebody's saying, dude, you've never smoked, dude, you got to smoke this $30 stick, and it may be absolutely excellent, they're trying to upsell you.
Yeah.
And I don't want to shit on like salesmen and stuff like that, but we like to be real here. Yeah. And the fact is if you're a first-time smoker,
agreed,
don't spend that much on a cigar.
It'll be lost on you. Any of the subtle nuances that would be there that a seasoned cigar smoker would think you would not get at all.
You wouldn't
You'd
get it
miss
all.
it.
So my recommendation is a...
Let me see if I know. Hypnotic.
Oh, God, no. It would be the Asylum 13.
That's a solid stick. Yeah.
Because it's sweet-tipped. And the local, we jokingly call it the golf cigar.
That's a great term.
Yeah. Because it's got a nice sweet tip to it. It's got a good burn on it.
Who doesn't like a nice good sweet tip?
Exactly. Who doesn't? So many jokes.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. You can get it for like, I think, definitely under $10.
Oh yeah,
it's like
$5 to $8. Yeah,
something like that.
Depending on where you're buying it, it's not over $10.
You can get them to cut it at the shop for you.
Yep.
And don't use a Bic lighter. Either use a butane lighter or use matches.
I was just about to say, do you want to tell them about why we use those lighters?
Not yet. We'll get into that in more detail. Just say, don't use a Bic lighter. If all you've got is a Bic lighter and you don't want to pay the money for a lighter there, ask them for a strip of cedar and light your cigar with that. Don't use a Bic to light your cigar. We'll explain that in more detail later. Look it up online. That would be the biggest aspect to it. So you don't have to buy a cutter. You don't have to buy a lighter.
Yep,
just buy the stick. Have them cut it. Get a pack of matches from them. Pack of matches and some cedar, or just some cedar.
Yep, that's a good.
There you go.
Good first stick right there.
Cost of the cigar. That's it. And I think that one runs like $7.99 or something like that, or $8.99, something. Yeah. I mean, depends on the shop. Some charge differently, but you're not going to spend over $10 for it.
I was going to ask you, do you ever dip your cigar in the liquor, the libation that you are drinking? Because I do occasionally.
Absolutely. And you know why that's a great subject to kind of help end this out? Because to be a little controversial.
We're never going to be controversial, are we, Devin?
We absolutely are.
Heck yeah, we are.
Speak the truth. no matter the cost.
Amen.
If the truth kills them, let them die.
Amen.
Name who said that for 10 points. Anyway, dipping cigars is, in some people who are super, whatever you want to say, they think it's sacrilege to do it. I'm telling you,
It's not.
it's not.
It's so good.
You want to see a great video? Our local here, Marvin, he watched a video from Arnold Schwarzenegger where he took this piece of cedar strip, dipped it in tequila, and wiped the cigar down.
I saw that. I've seen that video.
Calling it prepped. And he's done that for me and some other guys multiple times now. And he's done it with bourbon, and he's done it with different libations that he likes. And then he goes, okay, now try it. I'm telling you, it was amazing.
It's a game changer. It
It
really is.
Yep. And we're going to do it right now.
That's right. That's right. Just a little bit. You don't soak it. You just a little. Enough to be that's what's on the tip of your tongue.
Now, one of my good friends, Oscar, tells me you should wait till there's like, if you kind of mouth your cigar a little bit and get a little saliva on it, don't pull it again until it's dried off, because then if you get the tip of this thing too wet, you'll start getting tar, and you'll start getting this nasty flavor on your lips.
It's true.
You'll have to wipe it off and cut it off. I've had to cut it off.
I've had that problem.
Libations kind of do the same thing sometimes, so don't dip, smoke, dip. Just one time, enjoy it, wait until it's completely dry before you can try it again. So that's the controversial tip of the day.
Oh, and it's on the tip of the cigar. Boom. What'd you lay out
Just
like
the
that?
tip.
That's what she said.
So that's where we're at with this, man. I'm telling you. This is the reason we came with the podcast, the reason we wanted to do this. We got it started.
It's definitely the reason I came.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Wonderful. Wonderful. We appreciate you guys being here. Remember, like, share, subscribe, wherever I post this. Just generic.
Wherever, like, share, subscribes.
Yeah.
Makes
So
sense.
we do have a Discord. It is the Discord for the Arc of Fire Studios, and we run the WTF through that as well. Feel free. You'll see the link either in description or on the page or wherever it's at. Feel free to join. And that's about it we're looking at.
Yeah.
Next time, we're going to be smoking, I have no idea.
Wow, that's really telling. I love it.
We'll figure it out.
What are we drinking? No clue.
No clue.
Fantastic.
We will figure it out as
You want to
we
know?
go.
Tune in.
That's exactly right. Because the thing is we've got coming up really soon the rep for my father.
Nice.
So that month is going to be sponsored by my father. That's coming up very soon.
Can I sit in the back and just watch?
So we're going to be having him. He's going to be on, Eric Parkinson, and he's going to talk about the 4 different sticks, and then we're going to smoke
Nice.
one each week
Oh, I love it.
as we go through it as kind of a sponsored
That's
deal.
awesome.
And because of my connections in the cigar industry, we're going to be able to have different sponsors as far as cigars to come in.
Cool.
I wanted to start with this one. One, as I told you guys before, because of the whole repertoire of my father, but also in a little bit of tribute because the My Father rep was the first one who was like, I want to be on.
Nice.
He knows I'm just starting this out, even though we've been around for a little while. This is the first podcast. He's like, I want to be on. I know your history of podcasting.
Good man.
I was like, okay. So that has a little tribute to him.
Yeah, all the podcasts you've done have been awesome. So,
There you go. Well, let's end this out.
cheers.
Cheers. Whiskey Tobacco Fellowship. We appreciate you guys being here. Tune in next time. Later, gators.